Okay. Good morning to whatever day it is. I don't think time is irrelevant by now, right? Today was not started off. I mean, as I arose and my eyes opened, it was amazing. And then I went and saw the diarrhea that my dog made on the floor. And I optimistically and with positivity cleaned it up. And then I realized that my adult daughter is still coming to my house and take things. So bear with us today as we we try to integrate the real life things into the higher purpose, right? We're not experts. We're just learning together here. So come and join us, friends. I have not been feeling sure about things for a couple days, and just because I've been really, really stuck in my thought, which is a no-no, friends. You don't want to do that. But, us that has been diagnosed by the Matrix with all these social anxieties, depressions, when really it's just our intuition telling us that we need to do something different. We're not comfortable in this atmosphere, situation, around this person, whatever it is. You need to remove yourself. I think I just had that epiphany this morning whenever I woke up. I want to have relationships with certain people. I want to have connections and bonds with family members and my parents, etc. But sometimes it does have to just be surface level, because then you can't cut deep with certain people because they'll always fucking cut you with a knife. There's a difference between cutting a wound open with a scalpel before it's healed and somebody showing you their scar. There's such a difference between that. And a lot of people want to sit there and pretend like they care or they're showing concern when really you're just not living life up to their standards, and they're cutting your wound right open. Sometimes with no delicacy. And that shit hurts. It hurts. So, I do have some certainty on some subjects. Not everything not everything eludes me, but then you realize, think about it. What's going on in those moments whenever you feel the confusion or are doubting yourself? Did someone just come and say something to you that was low vibration, something that did not resonate with you? Did someone assume something about you and then you had to defend yourself? You think about in those moments, why are you having that train of thought? It's not the thought itself. It's the intention and the reason behind it. Why are you triggered? Why did you feel hurt by what the person said, asked, or did? Right? What do you
Facts.
think? What do you think, Corey?
Well, contrary to popular belief, we're supposed to just get over things in today's society and just keep moving forward, right? Keep soldiering on. And that's not realistic. That's not a reality that is authentic. I think you have to go through the mud. I think you have to get through the circumstances that your soul contract may put you through on some levels, right? And maybe the karmic values are here to show us the mirror that others are putting up, but I personally think that fairness is a big thing for me. I think that people should treat people not the way they've been treated, but rather the way people should be treated.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a time, right? There's a limitation, a borderline where you shouldn't cross those boundaries that people set up, with respect, with demands, with commands and things of that nature that society, your employers, America, this is what they're driven by. This is what they live by. This is their generic code. And they share it with the world, and it's contagious. And it's a way of life to the majority of people here. I don't agree with it personally. I try to live outside of those societal norms because they're not normal by any fashion or sense. But that's just my short take on it, you know. I think that if more people do the work, the collective will actually see the progress more clearly. I think it'll bring more clarity with more work, more spiritual work, more shadow work, more inner work.
I honestly think that there's so much opposition amongst each other in these times. So many different opinions and beliefs, and people not really understanding that that's okay. You can have your opinions and your beliefs and still respect someone else's opinions and beliefs, and that will stop the friction. They don't, like, I think people are so used to, especially people that are you know, don't have that seed of God, or, you know, of the Word of God, and or spirituality, or they weren't raised really to believe in anything outside of themselves. People like that, it's more acceptable in my mind for them not to know or believe things, or to be in that low vibrational space, right? To me, it's like, oh, well, they don't know what they don't know. But then there's people that have been raised with the seed. It's there. They know what's good. They know what's wrong. They know what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? But they still choose to be kind of like what agents of the dark, basically. You know, they choose to play in the same hand as the opposition. They and they're aware, but they somehow justify it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, like a narcissist justifies everything that they do because someone did something to them, you know? It's the same mentality, the same victimization. And the problem is that society is programmed and built a way to support those kind of people, and not the people that oppose that intolerance. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard to know what we know, live the way that we're trying to live, you know, in righteousness and purity and in servitude to Source, right? And to the Most High. But it's really, really hard. It's like a constant pushback. You're constantly getting pushed back, and you can't be angry about it, and you can't be defensive about it, and you can't take it personally. You know, you will, you know what I mean? In the whole process of things, I you know, in my 20s, like, I didn't know any of the things that I know now, but I was in my religion, and I thought myself as righteous, but at the same time, I was so angry. I was so defensive. But it was my spirit saying, like, you know, it was my spirit trying to break me out of the programming, because, you know, like I was telling my mother the other day, I remember, and I always have. It's not something, you know, a lot of people remember things in their adulthood. It's something I've carried with myself always, because I've never had the situation where I have repressed this memory. But I remember Source, and, you know, whatever you want to call it, God, the Holy Spirit's voice audibly in my life when I was a little girl. So the fact that I never lost that memory, I never lost that ability, I never lost that, I always feel like I'm on the outside of things, because I see things that people could never see, or I notice things, you know what I mean? psychiatry would call it, pattern recognition of ADHD. I notice things that people probably will never even notice in themselves, not until, they could die, be put in the grave and never freaking know it. But I'm okay. Like, I don't sit there and be like, well, I'm this way, you gotta be this way too. So I think I find it really, really hard to reconcile and kind of accept that people are going to be that way towards me. No matter how I am, no matter how I react, they're going to still be like, you're wrong, you're demonic, the things you believe in are demonic, blah, 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 blah. And maybe in the past I would have fought them on it and gotten really, really like heated and just like hurt and defensive and try to fight people and been like, you're being disrespectful. But even though I am still hurt by the feelings behind it, I also know you guys don't know what you don't know. And it's okay. And the proof in it is that I'm okay. That the Most High has given me a calmness, a peace, a certainty, a conviction of knowing that I'm okay, that I'm protected, that I'm gonna always be okay, regardless of how people view me, regardless of people's perception of me. You like to say a lot that things are a mirror or whatever, but I always, it's a lot more complicated than that. I always give you the side eye and I'm like, yeah, but it's more complicated than it just being the mirror can be a skewed. The mirror could be a false mirror. The mirror could be showing you something. The mirror could be programmed to show you something that you don't want to see. So you got to be careful with who you place in front of you as a mirror. Or if you can't also allow it, we can cloak things. We can, if you read the Bible or whatever, it talks about the armor of God. It's the same thing as cloaking your light, you know what I mean? Only making it available to those that are in your path as a purpose. If you're supposed to help somebody, then it'll come out naturally. If somebody, I think that we're all, well, most of us are here as beacons to help the ones that are lost, right? That are searching for things. So we have to be mindful of what the mirror is reflecting. And when I feel like whenever we mirror something back that hurts us, or we're in a situation where we're triggered with a negative thought or a low vibrational feeling, it's because that other person's mirror, they're either unaware of what they're mirroring, or they're really, really pressing a certain agenda with what they're mirroring. So we're in control of these things. It doesn't just happen out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Our thoughts create the spells and the energy and the manifestations, right? And I just use these words because I'm moving away from religious doctrine words, but if you use the thesaurus, you'll see that a lot of the words coincide with biblical words. I'm trying to use vernacular that everyone is going to understand, because I'm not just talking to one demographic of people. We're trying to break free from the programming that was set in forth to make us forget who we are supposed to be here in God's purpose. So the words that I choose are very, very intentional. And it's not to oppose anybody. It's just I want to reach others. I don't want to just reach people that know the Bible, that know the Quran or the Torah, the people that know religion. I want to reach people that are searching out there because they don't know God. They don't see any divinity in their lives. They just see it as clear cut, Yeah. Maybe they're atheists, maybe they're agnostic, maybe they've been wounded by religion or cults.
Yeah. Or in some way society let them down, and so God was a part of society.
And sometimes we let ourselves down, because we think that we know it. We were so sure that we know what's going on, when in reality the key is just to be open, right? Mm-hmm. To never like, I don't like standing in absolutes. I think I realized that in my last marriage, whenever I was in counseling and stuff, to speak in absolutes is so dangerous. To say never, always, forever, saying those things in sentences whenever you're describing things, it's really, really dangerous.
In infinity, yeah.
Because you're kind of like, you're imprinting something into stone almost. So I don't ever want to not be open to things changing in my thought process, because that is the process of being human. We grow, we get older, we learn, we experience things, we change based on the things that we learned in our experiences. But for some reason, this flesh, this human body, really, really freaking hates change, hates anything different. And I struggle with, is that the societal programming? Is that, what you would call in sociology, like, is that the blueprint that we're meant to follow? Or is that a universal law? You know what I mean? Like, which one, or is it both?
Right.
Because our words can be used as spells against ourselves. You know what I mean? And also, whatever you're thinking is your manifestation. So if that's negative, you're going to manifest negative,
Because we're all alchemists.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole world is based on alchemy. Like, in nature, it is all alchemy. We all coincide with one another in a very, very entangled, perfect chemistry. And it's not quantifiable always. Like, that's where spirit comes in, It's like we can quantify most things on this planet with science, with data, right?
Yeah.
That you collect, but at the same time, there's things that are not quantifiable. So that's source. That's the thing that you can't see. That's our souls. That's what's inside of this flesh.
Yeah.
So I think because it is metaphysically, it's like we're matter, we're density, that maybe that's why. Because the resistance, it's not, we see it as negative, but all it is resistance. It's not necessarily negative. It's like the resistance might be pushing us towards what we need to do, and the positivity, it might be pushing us into the lane that we need to be in. But we feel it as resistance in our minds. That's negative.
There's a fear attached to it.
It's a huge mind fuck.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're changing. What did I do wrong? Nothing. This is a process.
Yeah,
and
it all goes
formed.
back to the whole thing of, what we perceive as obstacles are not necessarily obstacles. They're just a marker in the road telling us that we need to go a different way. Mm-hmm. And I have experienced that this week in an amazing, because, in my, like I was telling you yesterday, like, I really, really, and I'm so grateful for this, because in exception to a few people, I really enter into conversations and spending time with people and my family members, like, wholeheartedly just wanting to enjoy people, learn more about them, create a better bond. Maybe they need something they need an event about or whatever. Like, I enter in it with full, like, I feel like a little girl, just so curious with so much love. And then when someone meets me with such opposition, intolerance, and disrespect, when I have that openness, it's like I feel like a little puppy that's just like, oh, like, going and scurrying to the corner, like, oh, sorry, I even tried.
Yeah, let me roll on my back, because instinctually I gotta...
Yeah, like,
surrender.
I gotta show that I'm submissive. I gotta show my belly. I gotta show my belly to people, because they just want to come at you like fucking ravenous dogs. Mm-hmm. It's like, but then again, hey, if it wasn't for the work that I put in, if I didn't put in my prayer, my meditation, my devotion, you know, if I didn't work on my somatic exercises to release all the anger and the unforgiveness that I have towards people that have hurt me, and just lifing, right? If I didn't do all those things and have the grace that I am given, I have such grace, then, you know, I wouldn't be able to see the things that I'm supposed to be seeing when other people are still sitting around probably gossiping about me and thinking that I'm going to hold a grudge, or, you know what I mean? Just because I happen to have opinions that oppose theirs.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that keeps me, you know, I am a recovering people pleaser. So whenever I have interactions with people that they might not perceive as good, like, oh, we had a little tiff, or, you know, she got upset, or she's, you know, that's another thing. People misinterpret my tears. They think, oh, I hurt her feelings and she can't handle it, or she's getting upset and she's crying. I mean, that might have been true in the past, but my tears are more just me being open to letting my emotions kind of flow through me as it happens. And some things have to be said a little teary-eyed because there's emotion, and the words are holding meaning for me. And as I'm saying them, I'm letting that go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they see it as, oh my God, you know, we hit a nerve, we're making her, you know, talk about things that she don't want to talk about. No, incorrect. I will talk. If I don't want to talk, I'm not going to talk. If I'm going to talk, I'm going to talk. Like, that's how I am now. Like, I'm okay with just being the person in the corner there observing, if I'm not supposed to say anything. But usually, if I'm saying something, it's in defense of myself.
Of course.
And I don't think anyone should be put in the position to defend themselves and what they believe. Now, like, if you did or said something that hurt somebody, then yeah, you know, expect the consequences, you know, when you open your mouth. And be ready for them, you know, be ready for the consequences.
Yeah.
But if you're minding your business and people still coming at you, like, you have to stop putting yourself there. Stop putting yourself where people are going to keep coming at you. Stop being around the people. Like, it's almost your fault then, now. You know what I mean? I always go back to what, I don't know if Oprah took this from somebody, but I remember her saying it, that people will always show you who they are the first time. You know what I mean? It's
Facts.
like, you want to, like, as a godly person, as a person that sees most things with love in their eyes, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But you can also know that people are who they are. And that's it. And keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing.
And you don't have to have no beef towards them. You don't have to have any resentment. But you don't also have to put yourself in that position for them to treat you that way again. And I'm a little bit struggling with that. Because there's attachments, right? This love comes with attachments on this earth. And God tries to teach us to not have these attachments. But they're there. It is a constant battle between body and spirit. Yeah. Right? What are
embedded emotions in the human construct, but felt through the spirit.
Yeah. We are the stones. You know, we are the crystals that are absorbing the things. Like, people use crystals and stuff as tools or whatever, but, like, it's in us.
It's in us, yeah.
We reverberate the things that we have experienced, just like a rose quartz. Like,
we're fucking alkalized batteries, you know. We are perpetual motion. We are a lot of things.
Yeah.
We're all and all is us.
Between the certainty, the uncertainty, I think that it's best to stay open with new truths. It's almost like tempting fate, right? I was thinking, I don't like really to stand on absolutes. Let's be careful. Let's be careful of the energy we place behind the thoughts. That carry your manifestations towards the opposite of what you want. I'm guilty of that a lot. You know, I suffer from a lot of anxiety. And that, just in being in therapy and stuff and learning the pathology of that carries on. It kind of induces some depression sometimes, and and it's a snowball effect. So the first key is to stop thoughts in their tracks. You can't. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not really stopping the thought, because you can't stop it. I feel like the more you try to be like, nope, 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 that's not true. Don't think that, the more you think it. Yeah. So you kind of have to let it come and then correct it. And be like, you know what? I think that because of this, that's not true. The truth is this. You know what I mean? And my learned behavior is that I like to shame myself. Like, why am I thinking about this? I know better. I'm being so stupid right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And none of that is true either. It's kind of like I'm shaming myself, which is a thing that's taught by religion, is to shame yourself.
Which basically
with beat doubt. Yourself into submission.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they talk about the Catholic priests doing that back in the day. They used to literally give themselves lashings when they even thought of something that was like, of lust or impurity. And it's like, wow.
A very
the self-loathing.
Discipline.
Well, it's like the agenda of the white patriarchy wanted us to, and that's another whole rabbit hole of itself.
Yeah.
Really, really wanted us to shame ourselves, to beat ourselves into submission, so it would be okay whenever they come around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You would be mentally conditioned
You're already
to take that
beaten down. You're already
yeah.
beating yourself down. I would say perfect, and I use this a lot, and whenever I'm talking about this subject, as far as like, how the church and other religions really, really want to teach you to like basically beat the flesh out of you. Like, like it's a whole thing of a spirit versus the flesh, but they literally mean like, any lustful thoughts, like, then you've got a demon. And it's like, no, it's all about being human. It's a part of being human. You have to accept in every single part of you, just like Source does. Yeah. Our highest selves are the purest form, right? We have a pure form in ourselves, but also we're attached to this. Mm-hmm. It's like when you think about everything that is on this earth, it's a reflection in itself. So, but then something corrupt came in. Mm-hmm. Something corrupt came in.
Just like the fucking Matrix.
And it's
the little androids.
And that corruption wants us to hate the divinity that is still to be human. It wants us to hate that, not accept it. Because it's almost hypocrisy, right? If I'm somebody that believes in the Word of God, and I believe that God loves every single part of me, the good and the bad, right? Yes. Why would I hate parts of myself if God loves every single part of me? You see the hypocrisy in that?
Oh, yeah.
So people themselves, they're like, even myself, I think that's why it's so important to not be certain and stuck on things, because we don't know it all. And you're not supposed to know it all.
Yeah.
So you have to be, the openness has to be there. Once you have yourself closed off and you're like, no, I'm certain that this is what's true. This is what's real.
Yeah.
Because I know it. Because I knew it 20 years ago, and so I'm just going to stick on this. You know what I mean? Yeah. To have that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mentality, mindset.
You're not allowed to, like the immovable. Mm. You're not, you can't be swayed into with any kind of new data or research.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even if your experience has told you, yo, that right there is just totally blew your logic and you're the way you believed out of the way. But instead of them saying, oh, well, let me rethink that. Let me go back and pray and meditate on that and see what I'm supposed to learn new, you're taught to reject it, right? And be like, no, because they're different, because that's a different than what I know, even though it's coming from me. The question is coming from me. I shut it down because of what I was taught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That self-doubt is not...
At that point, you're not speaking your truth.
It's not good.
Yeah, you're not speaking your authentic self.
You're not supposed to doubt yourself like that.
And that's what we do. You know, that's the construct makes us, you know, whether it's advertising.
I think it's what keeps us in this chaos.
And you know, the mind is not consciousness. The mind holds the consciousness. And I think a lot of the world gets that misconstrued, right? Because they really believe that the brain is no, it's the construct of what holds it, of what helps it and things manifest, you know. And that skewed view misleads a lot of people out there, yo. It's a big peek into the behind the veil of people that are stuck in their ways, quote unquote. You know, the old people will not grow new ways, and so does such and such.
Well, you know, if you go back to the parables of Yeshua, you know, like just the analogy of us being trees and us showing our spiritual health through the fruits, right? If you're not a fruit-bearing tree, then what are you doing? Like, what's the point of it? If you don't realize how much of a hypocrite you're being whenever you're shunning others and then complaining about others doing the same to you, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're in a cycle of chaos.
Yeah, it's a chaotic
loop. Complacency of... It's
almost like an energetic loop. It's an energy loop of low frequency.
Which makes people like me feel like they're insane whenever we fucking interact with them. Because it's like, I just had to hop the fence to come over here and see how you're doing. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, now I'm jumping back over.
And you try to keep me in here. I was just checking up on you.
That part.
You try to pull me into your loop. It's not gonna happen.
And you know why? Because we both know that energy spirals, right? Like DNA. And that's part of why people get stuck in that spiral. Because they're supposed to go up. But then they become stagnant wherever they are.
In a loop, in a hamster wheel.
And that's
most of America.
And that's like a fourth dimension.
Even the kindest, beautiful of souls, they're stuck in a hamster wheel.
Yeah. Because for some reason, it defies the laws of the gravity and whatever, everything, Newton's law, all this stuff. Because to where you're supposed to continue, you're just stuck. And it's almost like that part of the spiral.
You can't expand.
That part.
Right?
Because
there's no
time
expansion.
bends.
There's no expansion happening.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like setting yourself in like coal in a diamond. You're becoming a diamond, right? Yeah. You're withstanding the pressure, but no one's going to see that light because you're covered by mud and coal, and the expansion has to happen. The digging up of the earth has to happen, because if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, it doesn't make a sound.
Doesn't make a sound, yeah.
No one sees the diamond covered by the mud. What's the point?
Yeah.
It's just a rock covered by mud. Until you uncover it, right?
That part. And whether it be by somebody or yourself.
Then the expansion happens. But a lot of these people are putting pressure lids on their lives.
And then when they burst.
And then whenever it fucking explodes, they're like, oh my God, what happened? It's like...
Where were you during the pressurization?
You didn't let the steam out.
That part.
You didn't love yourself properly. You didn't take the rest. You didn't get away from that person abusing you.
Yeah.
You know, you felt obligated to keep going and having a relationship with that parent that constantly puts you down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The evolving, the expansion never happens. They think it's happening in their mind because they're going through the motions, right? But it's false. It's like, you know, friends of mine, they're always, I I always go back to this language thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't resonate with the whole saying timelines and stuff like that. I think it just goes back to my religious upbringing. It wants to reject it, but it is true, right? There's people that live in certain timelines, and it's really like I used to describe it as a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
People are in their own bubbles. They're completely in this. So whenever you come and interject, and it's like, no, I'm on this track. You can't get me off this track. It's just like my tattoo here, the umnulum. This is how life is. Yeah. It's a lot of ups and downs, twists and turns, but we're always moving forward. So if you're the one that's your own obstacle, you're standing your own way because of your limited thoughts, your limited beliefs, you thinking that you have it all figured out, you don't have no one else to blame but yourself.
Facts. Mic drop.
Did I leave you dumbfounded with that?
That is too profound for the world.
So I'm gonna wrap it up with a quote here that I got from this little book that my daughter gave me. It says, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. And of course, my dude Buddha said that. Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
So, take it easy. I know I say this a lot, like on my TikToks and on my other videos and stuff like that. It is essential, right? I think I cracked the code with that one. I think that's why I say it so much, because so many people are not aware of it. I cracked the code with, what did I write down here? Yeah. The key is as little effort as possible. If that makes any sense, right? The littlest of efforts in your mind. I'm not saying like, you know, I'm being particular when it comes to, we're talking about our thoughts here, right? As little effort mentally. That's what you have to do. To break the thought cycle. To enter into the space where you can love yourself again. To enter in the space where you're not damaging and saying, no, that's not me, or I'm not who I need to be, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or why am I thinking these things? And the key is, it's okay. Let it happen. Let it be. And that's it. It sounds crazy, but that's how simple it is. The inner dialogue will eventually submit itself to the truth.
Facts.
And it'll get to the place where I'm at right now, where the thoughts haven't stopped. You know what I mean? Because the outside energy interjects, especially when people have their thoughts pointed towards you. Be careful of that too. Don't be thinking too much about people. Don't be thinking too much about people's situations. You're kind of creating a momentum there that is, you know, when they call people witches and shit, that's why. That's why. You got to be mindful of the spells that you cast with the thoughts and your words. And that involves the thoughts and the words that you think about yourself and others. You know, correct them with your affirmations. That's why affirmations are important. So you can have the words in your mind to correct the lies. Okay? I think my therapist said one time, and it blew my mind. She's like, 85 to 90% of our thoughts that come into our brains come from the outside of what we hear and see, and most of it is lies. Okay? So you have to, that's why devotion and affirmations are important as soon as you wake up. That prayer, that mindfulness, that calling back your soul from the astral realm, that remembering who Source made you to be. It's important to have that reverence on a daily, so you have the tools to combat the lies. So that's why it's important to live your life intentionally. You can't just wake up and be like, I don't know what I'm gonna do today. That might be true, but inside, you gotta know how to do. Maybe you do nothing. Maybe you just sit there and freaking rot in bed all fucking day. That's okay. But your mind can't be there. Not unless you want it to stay there. Okay?
Facts. Anything else that you want to share with the community before we wrap this up? How about you let everybody know where they can find you on your social media?
Lacono Faye on TikTok. Also on Instagram, I have Lacono Faye, and then Atabe, Atabeey. That means just Atabe is a Arawak Taina word. That means, Mother Earth. It's the deity that they believed in, of being, the spirit on this earth. Translated into biblical terms, basically the Holy Spirit. So yeah, I really resonate with my ancestors and the language they used to use. Lacono means the people, and that's what we're trying to reach. We're trying to reach the people. We're not trying to isolate ourselves. We're not trying to say that one thing is wrong. Any belief is wrong. It's just we want people to learn the peace and the love that we've learned. It's like when you when you crack the code on being a millionaire, and you see all these millionaires, and they're, if they're good people, they're usually trying to fucking take people with them and like, hey, I can teach you how to make money. It's the same thing. We learned what it is to really, really experience happiness in our lives. Yes. And true love that is not attached to another person. You know what I mean? It's like I can only compare it to whenever I got baptized and I had that romance with Yeshua, that in certainty, I just knew that God is always with me and that I'm always going to be protected. I'm always going to be provided for. That is a constant thing, a constant vibration that I carry with me. And I want to share that because I see people, right? When we have this love, we have the compassion and the sight to see people that need it also. So, you know what I mean? In my humility and my modesty, this is our way. This is our way to get it across, I will say it again. We're not experts. We're just learning right along with everyone else. And we're not always going to say the right things. And I might say something today and learn something new today, and it changed my mind tomorrow.
Facts.
Okay?
Evolving beings.
So yeah. That's gonna happen. So let it pass. Let the things pass. And when you're unsure, I'm gonna go back to what Abraham says. Just go take a nap. Sleep on it. There's a thin line between sleeping on it and depression. So but usually when you sleep on it and you're like, God, I'm gonna go, the Holy Spirit, Spirit, I'm gonna go and take a nap. I don't want to worry about this anymore. Usually wake up with a new refreshed feeling, and that's all that matters, is how we feel. And then, a lot of religious people would probably be like, no, she's wrong. The goal here is to enjoy. The goal here is to enjoy. The human experience has suffering, but it's just temporary. It's just a part of the trail. There's some uphill and there's some downhill and there's some beautiful waterfalls and creeks to swim in between. So I love you guys, and stay grounded, stay hydrated.
And remember, for everybody, this is the frequency of us with Daphne and Corey. We appreciate you. Daphne, I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
So delicately for having you on the show with us and for being a part of the show. Your spirit really helps embody what everyone is trying to understand. And so I just want to show that gratitude. I appreciate you. Tune in for episode 5, guys. We're going to be releasing this here within...
Next couple days,
yeah. Agreed. If she said it, she meant it, by the way. Much love, y'all. Tune into the next one.
Thanks.